Hi everyone. Today's story is called Cinderella, and the author is Michele Marineau. Cynthia lived with her father in a little house in a big city. They were as happy can be. Happy, that is, until her father, who had been a widower for many years, fell in love. One day he had news. "I'm getting married, my dear, and your new stepmother has 2 daughters. Isn't that great?" That wasn't great. The 2 daughters cried and carried on all through the wedding ceremony. "Weird," said Cynthia. "Something tells me that life with these 2 is not going to be very fun." There's her dad, or her new stepmom. And boy, was she right. Her stepmother and her 2 stepsisters were lazy, really lazy. All day long they slept, watched TV, slept some more, while the poor girl cleaned and swept and scrubbed. Sound familiar? In the evening, tired out, Cynthia curled up in front of the fireplace with only the cinders to keep her company. And that is how her lazy, yawning half-sisters came to call her Cinderella. One day, the king announced that he would throw a grand ball, and the whole family was invited. Well, almost the whole family. "Good heavens," said her stepmother, "Cinderella go to the ball? That's so silly. She has way too much work to do." But Cinderella wanted to go so much. "Is this all there is to my life?" she asked quietly after all the others had left. "How can I go on like this?" "Oh, stop feeling sorry for yourself this instant," said a voice. "You must take charge of your own life, young lady." Who could it be? The voice sounded familiar. It surprised Cinderella. It belonged to her fairy godmother. Cinderella saw her so rarely these days that she forgot that she even had one. "If you want to go to the ball," said her fairy godmother, "then to the ball you shall go." "But how?" asked Cinderella. "I don't have nice clothes or beautiful jewels or a car or—" "Don't forget that I'm a fairy," said her fairy godmother. "All we need are the right ingredients. Aha! Here we have some right here. A nice ripe tomato, some vanilla yogurt, raisins, and a dog. With a tap of my magic wand, they should do the trick." That's interesting. And they did. Everything was perfect. Cinderella had a bright red car from the tomato, a creamy gown, and string of pearls from the yogurt. And can you guess who the chauffeur was? It was the dog. "Smile," ordered her fairy godmother. "Without a smile, all the other stuff doesn't count. And remember, above all, you must return home before midnight. That's when your car will turn back into a tomato, the dress and the pearls into yogurt, and the chauffeur and everything else will vanish." The fairy godmother had now said all that she needed to say, so she said no more. Tomato car. When Cinderella arrived at the ball, everyone turned to stare at the lovely girl in the creamy silk dress and the shimmering pearls. No one even recognized her, not even her stepmother or her stepsisters. And there she is. The prince was captivated by the mysterious, beautiful guest. "She is so beautiful," he thought. "Such a lovely dress, such eyes, the way she holds her head, and her smile, such a smile." As it turned out, the fairy godmother was right about the smile. All night long, the prince danced only with Cinderella. He's a handsome dude. And Cinderella, lost in the prince's deep brown eyes, danced the night away as though she were in a dream, until a sudden noise brought her back to reality. Dong, dong. Midnight, she cried, I must go. And Cinderella ran so fast that guess what she lost? She lost her shoe. Wow, said Cinderella when she got home. What a fabulous evening. And boy, was that prince ever charming. The rest of the family arrived home long after her. Wow, said her stepmother and stepsisters, what a boring evening. Thank goodness the prince was charming. I don't think they enjoyed themselves. Not only was the prince charming, he was also persistent, which means he never gave up, and crazy about the mysterious beauty from the ball. Thank goodness I found her shoe. It's as delicate and tiny as she was. Her shoe won't fit anyone else's foot. With a bit of patience, I'll be sure to find her. Have you lost this shoe? The days passed, and the prince tried the shoe on many different feet. He soon grew very discouraged. This is exhausting, all these feet. And then one morning, a delicate little foot slid gently into the shoe. The prince looked up and instantly recognized the smile that had won his heart at the ball. Oh, my darling, will you marry me? How could Cinderella resist those brown eyes, that noble profile, and that speckled shirt? Handsome dude. So Cinderella and the prince were married, and they lived happily ever after, surrounded by tomatoes, dogs, and lots of children. The end. All right, let's try our little chart here. So what was the girl's name? Do you remember her name? Her stepsisters called her Cinderella, but her real name was Cynthia. And she had a stepmother and two stepsisters. It doesn't say they were mean. It just says they were lazy. And she had a fairy godmother. Remember, sitting on the washing machine? Did she get a beautiful dress? She got a beautiful creamy silk gown and a string of pearls. Did she ride to the ball in a coach? She drove to the ball in a tomato car. Did she lose a shoe? She did. Was that prince charming? Very charming. And did they live happily ever after with tomatoes, dogs, and children? Yes, they did. I hope you enjoyed our story today. I'll be back tomorrow with another.